OneStream Unleash the Business Ministry and Marketplace Summit. We're so glad that you are here for such a time as this. I want to thank you so much for joining me in the Streaming a Profitable Bride, podcast. Okay. So I'm excited that you are here with me on today. So as you are coming in, as you're coming in the room, go ahead and let us know who you are, where you are logging in from, what it is that you do, right? How you're showing up in the world. What is your business and your ministry? In addition, how someone can contact you. For those that are on social, y'all already know, right? um, that's our thing, right? You don't know who will watch the replay later or who may be with you live that may see your information and need the services that you provide. So go ahead and give yourself a shout out for such a time as this. Especially, listen, we are dealing with in this particular session, listen, broadcasting, right? We're going to focus on podcasts, but we're dealing with broadcasting. So this is an amazing way for you to broadcast your brand, okay? For such a time as this. So thank you so much for being with us. And so also, you guys share in your circle of influence so that those that you know can get in on this conversation. You know, someone in ministry, right, or in the marketplace. This is the space that they want to be so they can amplify their brand, right? Amplify their message as, listen, we amplify Jesus Christ, right? Utilizing our gifts and our talents that the Lord has given unto us for such a time as this. I don't know about you, but I've been having a phenomenal time over these last almost 2 days, right? In this conference, it's been absolutely amazing and phenomenal. So I hope it has been for you as well. Okay, we got Shaquita. Thank you. And I hope I said your name right. If I didn't, I'm sorry for that. And she's tuning in all the way from Alabama. Author, insurance agent, a minister, podcaster. Come on through Alabama. Okay, we bless God for you and we thank God for the work that He has called for in you as well. So let us get this party started. Okay, so listen, there are so many people out here. Some people want to start podcasts. Some people are podcasting already. However, right, they have yet to learn how to monetize it. Have yet to learn how to monetize it, and so we want to talk about how we can we're gonna dive into, or I'm gonna get you some information on how, right, you can podcast, right, while obtaining income from it. Even if, listen, even if this is your first podcast, you don't have a big following, or you may not even have a following at all. Listen, there's still ways that you can get paid. Okay, so I absolutely love that. Let me make sure that I put this setting on. So let's get started. So let's talk about streaming a profitable broadcast for ministers, leaders, entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, influencers, anyone that's in the media or ministry, right? Or I'm sorry, I said media. That's in ministry or in the marketplace. There's definitely a space for a moment here, a space for you, for your brand to be amplified. Listen, for such one moment, let us get our screen back up. Okay, there we go. We lost it for a second. For you to amplify your brand, right? Okay, come on through. So, okay, that didn't change over here. Moment. Here we go. I think we're in the right place now. Okay, so you have everything in you to generate wealth. I'm always tell you that. I'm gonna speak that over your life, right? And one day you're gonna listen as your wealth just beginning to flow, and you've been the abundance of wealth. You're gonna be like that. Listen, that woman of God always proclaimed and professed that, and I do. Um, every time I rise to my feet and open up my mouth, but nevertheless. It's not just because I said it, it's because it's in the word of God. That's what God said. So I am Dr. Derashay, your kingdom strategist, here to build strategies so that you may birth and expand in your dreams, your goals, and your destiny. I do help individuals, businesses, and ministries with practical solutions so that they may increase their market reach and their income potential. I've had the amazing opportunity to be featured in several major platforms internationally as well as nationally. I'm a business and ministry coach, seriepreneur, Amazon international bestseller, Christian publisher, and author. Have been received many awards, a recipient of many awards for myself personally, as well as my businesses. Right within the industries that I serve, and we've also been nominated for many of them as well. Here in this picture, I am holding my very first award in the media space, right? This was in 2017. I'm having my very first Spin Award here. Here we go. We have been nominated um, in the media space. So let me back up before I jump over into that. So I told you I was a seriepreneur. One of the things that I do is I have a Christian TV, radio, and podcasting station. Okay, and I'm sure we're going to hear about that in a little bit later since we're focusing on media in the media space right now. So, the name of that is Kingdom Influencers Broadcast, where we do deliver a kingdom sound into the four corners of the earth. And 2021, I was named Radio Woman of the Year by the Spin Awards. I received a recipient of the media industry, radio industry award from One Way Radio. Last year in 2023, we were the recipient of the International Radio Station of the Year out of the UK with the gospel um, ooh, she gonna give me about that. But amen, glory to God. Gospel Explosion Awards, okay? It's so many things that's be happening in this industry. So listen, this is me here at the Spin Awards as a facilitator. I'm facilitating in this industry for the last 4 years, I believe. And listen, not by my might, right, or my power, but I'm telling you about the power of the Lord. I had to tell you about that story later. But hey, we praise God for that. Okay. So listen, I told you about Kingdom Influencers broadcast. We're in 198 countries. We praise God for that. In 2022, we served over new listeners, viewers onto our platform, over a 250,000 people, and so we thank God for that as well. And so we're able to be heard through radio station websites, radio stations app, our very own website and station app as well as through our radio station affiliates that we have partnered with for on-air broadcasts, as well as through their apps as well. So we praise God for that. We are connected with over 60 plus other entities within the media space who help push our station into other spaces, listen, around the world. That's why we have hit so many countries, right? And God was just very strategic when it came to that. These are some of our station recognitions, right, that we received over the few years. But guess what? Listen, it does not start like this. I don't even know if I talk about this in here, but anyway, I was actually at one point mute. Listen, about 24 years ago, you couldn't get me to speak in front of anybody. I felt very insignificant. The enemy had me thinking that I did not have a voice. Why? Because of my history, right? He was keeping me encaged in due to my background. Listen, as being a teenage mother, high school dropout, molested as a young girl, felt the GED writing test 3 times, got my GED at the age of 22, born into poverty, chaos, household division, and mental and emotional unstable family, rejected by my father, abandoned by my mother. By the age of 40, I was divorced from a 25-year relationship, with 15 of those that we were married. But guess what? That's not how the story ends. Oh my God, God still has some things and some usage for me in my very life, and so we bless God for that. Okay, and so we are still moving, thriving, and just doing the things that the Lord has commissioned in our lives as we're walking in authority, dominion, and in the purpose that God has declared for us. Amen. So this is what we are covering today: the impact of broadcasting and ministry, for the impact of ministry, the impact of broadcasting and ministry and in the marketplace, podcasting keys to success, as well as identify podcasting multiple streams of income. So before we move forward, I want you to do this little exercise with me, okay? I want you to go ahead, pull out your phone. Okay. And as you pull out your phone, or you may be on your computer, I want you to go ahead and open up your social media platform. And as you open up your social media platform, go ahead and do yourself a selfie. Do a selfie. Now, if you're appropriate for a selfie, if you're not, that's okay. Just grab the flyer, right, of this event. And I want you to do this. I want you to type in, I am at the Build Your Profitable Broadcast Masterclass session given by, and then the @ Kingdom Strategist. Okay, then do a slash. Follow the instructions on here and then do the Derashay Kingdom Strategist. I am, put your name there, put your title, the name of your business and your ministry, and I want you to say, and I help. Tell them how you're showing up in the world, how you're helping other people. Okay. And then you can connect with me put your social media handle there, or your bio link, or link to your website, and make sure you put your hashtags there as well. So what happens when you do this exercise is this. This is a way that, again, another broadcasting, right? Another tool that we're using right now to broadcast your message. So what happens as you tag me, everyone that is in my circle of influence and on my social media platforms, listen, now they just heard about you, what it is that you do, how you're showing up in the world, and how to connect with you. And if they need your services, guess what? They know how to connect with you. So I told you to either do a selfie of yourself, or I told you to use the event flyer, or you can use one of your flyers or your promotional flyers for your business or whatever event that you have coming up, right? So use that as an opportunity, listen, to broadcast, amplify your message, your brand as well. Okay, we're just doing strategic things while we're here today. So we're talking about, listen, building a profitable podcast. We're going to begin with the end in mind. Okay. What do, what is your, first of all, I need you to think about, what is my financial goal for podcasting? Right. What is my financial goal for it? Because that's going to be vitally important, because that's going to determine the type of conversations that you would have with your audience, right? When it comes to leveraging that podcast to generate income. So we definitely need a financial goal. I want you to think about that. What is my financial goal? Right? Not only what is your financial goal for your podcast, I want you to also What is the goal for your listeners? What's that goal? You gotta know. What's your listener goal? And for those, some people do video podcasts. So if you do a video podcast, hey, um, for your viewer, okay? Don't get me on technicality here. So I want you to go ahead and think about that and write that down somewhere. So let's talk about the impact of broadcasting, right, on in ministry and in the marketplace. Let's talk about this. And I want to go to the word of the Lord, right? I want us to look at a space or a place in the word where we can clearly identify where a message, right, that the Lord had given is being amplified throughout a kingdom. So we're going to go to the book of Ezra. In Ezra chapter 1, we find, right, we find King Cyrus right here broadcasting his message. Now, back then, he couldn't pick up a mic, right, or turn on a camera to broadcast. He couldn't do that. So what the Lord told him to do was, and check this out, Ezra 1, it says this. Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, so that he made a proclamation through all the kingdom and also put it in writing. So proclamation, broadcast, okay? Put a proclamation out, you need to go broadcast this, okay? Um, Throughout all the kingdom and also put it in writing, saying, thus says King Cyrus of Persia, all of the kingdoms of the earth, the Lord God of heaven has given me, right? And he has commanded me to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Okay, so we're going to start right there. So here he is amplifying his message, amplifying, right, and speaking and declaring what it is that the Lord has called and told for him to do. Now, I know, in contrary to a lot of things that we hear, right, that we hear a lot of things that people say, and they're like, no, don't be telling nobody what the Lord told you to do. Don't tell nobody your vision and all the things right there. But let me tell you something. When we're not amplifying, when we're not broadcasting what it is that the Lord has given us, the message that God has called forth on the inside of me, it stagnates us. It stagnates the vision. It stagnates the purpose. My God, it stagnates us from being able to make kingdom moves, okay? To make kingdom moves. The only time that I would ever recommend that you don't tell nobody what it is that God called you to do, that you're not preaching the good news, whatever that is he told you to do, is when you don't believe. Because if you don't believe, that's the only time where the probability of you aborting or having a spiritual abortion, miscarriage, or stillborn with that word is when you don't believe. That's the only time that I advocate that. Otherwise, oh, you better be, look, every mic you can be on, every camera you can be in front of, let's broadcast this message, okay? And here in the Word of God is going to give us some reasons on why you need to do that. I'm going to let you read the rest of it on your own, but I can absolutely surely promise you, as you read Ezra 1, you can just go ahead and read the whole chapter, right? Make it a little Bible study for yourself. That you're going to see what take place. Here, as he broadcast his message, he was able to reach, right? He was able to reach those who was going to support him. He was able to reach those that was a part of the vision, that was a part of the plan. That God had spoken unto him. So what that does that implies to you as you get out here and you're broadcasting your message, it affords you the opportunity, right, for people to know who you are, what it is that you do, do so they can make the right decision and say, you know what, this is the person that solves the problem that I have. And the fastest way to get your message out, I'm telling you, is through broadcasting. No matter which form you take, here we're emphasizing podcasting. But that's the fastest way in these times to get your message out. He had to put it in writing and send them out to do it. Only thing you got to do is simply turn on a mic, or turn on a camera, and bam, you can be anywhere in the world. I just told you we're in 198 countries, right? Where I get the amazing opportunity not only to amplify by my voice and my brand, but also the voice and the brand of other people. So it's just as easy as that. Okay. So he was able to reach those who was going to be a part of the work. He got collaborative partners. Now the Lord told him to build, he didn't go build not one thing, right? He didn't go build not one thing whatsoever. But those, when he spoke it and they heard it, right? The Israelites, when they heard it, they knew that was their activated moment, their activated time to move in the prophetic utterance of God. It was their time to connect, align with the word, and move in the vision. So when you are amplifying your brand and your voice doing podcasting, you're able to reach your ideal client, but not only your ideal client, listen, your ideal partner, which also affords you the opportunity to increase your bottom line. Okay? Increase your bottom line. And we're going to talk about that. How does that work? Right? Even when we look at Ezra chapter 1, now you find these few things. Those that went, who heard it, and hey, they said, okay, we're going to go and rebuild this temple. You even found those who did not go, right? And they wasn't even consumed with what King Cyrus was saying. And that's okay, because you're going to come across that, and that's perfectly fine, because everybody ain't for you. You want those who is for you. Okay. Then you're going to also find in that particular text that it said in verse 4, it said, and whoever is left in any place where he dwells, let the man of his place help him with silver and gold, with goods and livestock, besides the freewill offering for the house of God, which is in Jerusalem. Right? And so they financially supported them, right? Not only just the Israelites, but also those that had them in captivity. Cash flow increase. So we're able to use that, right? Look at the things that begin to happen. And those things can definitely happen for you if you amplify, right? And leverage podcasting as you amplify your brand in an appropriate way. Okay. In the right way, because we can do it. People are doing it all day long. So, broadcasting, that is just simply, listen, delivering a message, okay? Simply delivering a message. And then we're called to go and make disciples of all nations. And so, what podcasting would afford you the opportunity to do is to make disciples, like even from the comfort of your home, as you attract your ideal listener or viewer, because you have a message specifically tailored for them. And that as you use podcasting as an awareness tool for marketing, so they can get to the products and services. Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, most people are not generating money from their podcast because they don't have either one, a product or service. Or number two, they don't know how to leverage podcasting to sell their products and services. And we're going to talk about that a little later. So you should be broadcasting, right? We just looked at the book of Ezra to see why. You want to, listen, increase your bottom line, increase your cash flow. You're going to need more clients or new clients, right? And you can use podcasting to attract them. It would be great to have collaborative partners as well, right? Collaborative partners who would finance the work that you're doing, who would back you with some finances, right? That would be great to do or have as well. And have those collaborative partnerships, whether it's through sponsorships, affiliates, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit later, or sponsors altogether. So it's in the word. So we should apply it to our life. So one thing I want to tell you just about here is that listen, there are various markets that are very, very saturated. But one thing when it comes to broadcasting and when it comes to the podcast industry or the broadcasting industry as a whole, which covers, the types of broadcasting, which is radio, TV, and podcasting, right? Um, those markets are very small and tight. Okay. It's not overly saturated as many of the other markets. You can look at the data right there because I want to move. As I know, I spent quite a little time in other spaces. Also, I want you to know about, listen, this was a Facebook policy that came out, and it was talking about, the guidelines of being able to use, music, and how they was going to take down content and just different things of that nature. And we also know the restrictions that some social media platforms just put on your content, right? Especially if it is not, what it is of their preference, or if you're not having a lot of engagement on it as well. So there's quite a few things, right? As well. And some of these platforms, especially when you could go on platforms and somebody type a message that say woman of God or whatever, and the platform tell you this may be an offensive comment. So we are not, so you get to make the option if you want to look at it or not. And then you look at it and they say woman of God, and like, what is offensive about that? So I can just imagine what they're doing with getting our messages spread it, right? Across the platform. And I'm always, or used to always be in jail, but I had to tell especially on this Facebook, they kept me there. But nevertheless, I didn't even get mad about it. Wanna know why? Because listen, I understand socialist rental property. I have my own property where I can amplify my brand and say whatever it is that I want. And that's the other thing when it comes to your amplifying your brand through radio, podcasting, right? And TV, but we're focused on podcasts, is that you get the opportunity to listen, say what you want to say without being censored, without your content being censored or restrained as well. So let's talk about podcasting keys to success. There are a few of those. And so this is the podcasting keys to success is defining your podcast purpose, developing your listener or viewer persona, establishing a client buyer's journey, choosing your lane of authority, crafting your mission statement, naming your podcast, building your marketing foundation. And then guess what? Identifying podcasting multiple streams of income. And we're going to do that. I'm telling you, I love when we get down to that part. So I have to ask you this. What are the products or services do you offer? So I see that, right? Get here. I see that Shaquita said that, look, she said she's an author. So that means that she has a book. So that is a product that she have. Who else is out there? What products or services that you offer? Go ahead. She's also an insurance agency. I'm sorry, insurance agent. Okay. So for those other who are out there now, those that are on my social, you can put the information there. And guess what? I'll come back later and respond to your replies. For those that are on the platform, let us know what products and services that you have. Okay. Now that's going to be important when it comes to broadcasting. Okay. What is the product or service that you're off? You got to have an offer. You got to have an offer. If you don't have an offer and you're broadcasting or you have the desire to, begin to think about what your offer is going to be. Begin to think about what it is that you're going to be offering them. Even if it's just for them to sign up on your email list so that you can start building your subscriber list. Even if it's just that, you need to be offering them something. You need to be sending them somewhere else to capture their information, right? You got to have in mind where you're taking them. And it just cannot be, oh, listen to my broadcast. Okay, they come and hear an amazing episode and now they need a space to extend the conversation and a space to help them, right, further obtain transformation. And so you got to have something, right? So begin to think about what that something is going to be. And we'll talk about some of those things, right, that you can develop. So you want to develop a listening and view. Let me back up one moment. So okay, so what is your product and service? You got to understand what that is. Okay. The other thing that we also have to make sure that we understand, what is the purpose of your podcast? What is the purpose of it? What problem does it solve? What is its purpose? And y'all gonna notice that you hear these same things all the time. What is the purpose of what it is that you're doing? What problem does it solve, right? And depending on the purpose and the problem that it solves, please make sure that whatever you're offering, that it lines up with the purpose of your podcast and the problem that it solves. The things that you're going to be selling are solutions, right? Solutions that they're going to be willing to buy, because guess what? They're listening to your podcast because that's the problem that they have. And you just happen to have some goods, right? You have some goods to sell unto them, right? So that their problem can be solved. So you got to also develop a listener and viewer persona. You got to develop a profile for your ideal listener. Okay. You got to develop that profile. Jesus knew exactly who it was that he was here to serve. They was trying to get Jesus to, they had their own idea of what they wanted for him to do. He said, listen, no, listen. I'm not here for the well. He said, I'm here for the sick. So who are you here for? Who are you here for? Who are you turning on the mic and the camera for? Who is it? You got to know who that is. Because you're on that mic or in front of that camera because you're here to serve some people, a group of people that God has attached to your destiny and you to theirs. And so it's vitally important that you understand who they are so that you can help them, right? So that you can help them in their transformational journey. So the most important question as being a podcast host, right? The most important question is, who is it that I'm serving? Who is it that I'm serving? Because, and what is my purpose? Because those things are going to keep you in line or keep you focused on content that's going to be relevant for your listeners and viewers so that they can continue to come and drink from your well. Knowing your target audience, right, allows you to craft content that they enjoy. It also allows you to select the best marketing channel and build a community. So when it comes to your listener and viewer persona, listen, there are a 50 to 100 distinguishable things that you should know about the people that you serve. Like you want to know what gender is most likely to be interested in your podcast. What is the age group? What is a good description of those who you are intending to reach? Is it busy moms? Is it mothers who are entrepreneurs, right? Or men who are entrepreneurs, or men in ministry, men in leadership, right? Who is it? Men that are married, or is it married couples, right? Is it a podcast that will be good for those who love to cook? Or is it traveling podcast? Like, what is it? Or is it a tech one? Is it for business, for the faith-based community? You're gonna have to determine what that looks like, or the person, right, that you're going to be identifying. So hey, if it's a cooking podcast and it caters to a Pacific cuisine or what have you, then hey, you know that it is people that, let's say it's Italian, that like Italian food. If it's French, that like French food, right? So we got to listen, we got to be specific and be okay. This is the person that I'm looking. Like, what are their unique attributes? How many people fit this particular profile? Right? You got to, is the person single? Is they married? Like, you need to know, do they have children? Are they do they work, have a regular 9 to 5? What does their work schedule or their work day look like? Do they have downtime for themselves? What is their income? What is their income range? You need to know that. What is their disposable income? Because that's important too. Because with these offers that you're going to be offering them, that those offers have to fit within their income means. Okay, within their income means, so that you won't price yourself out of your target audience or rob yourself, right? Or rub yourself, right? Because you don't know. Like, people perish for lack of money. Your bank account, I mean, the people perish for lack of knowledge. Your bank account is hurting because of a lack of knowledge, okay? So, why is it important to know your target audience? Um, Here's a few reasons why. Because it is going to help you package your message. It's going to help you price your message, right? Price those products and services, as we'll just talk about that. And it's going to help you promote your message. Once you understand your ideal client, what it's going to do for you is help you focus, become detail oriented and laser focused on who it is that you are communicating to, so that you can communicate in terms in which is going to be understandable unto them. It's going to be very clear, because you're clear with your message and you're clear with who you're talking to. And so they're going to know that you're talking to them, right? Even when you develop a persona and you narrow it down, even to this one person, it's going to be, listen, this one person going to be hundreds of people that's going to hear the same message because it resonates with them because it's the problem that they have, and they're looking for solutions, and you are bringing them solutions to help them solve their problem matriculate, right? Move closer to where it is that they so desire. Okay. Understanding, listen, your target audience, it is the bridge that connects your purpose, right, with your products and services. It is. It's very important that you understand the people, because listen, the people are the one that's going to pay for the products and the services. So you got to be very detail oriented when it comes to them. Okay, we got to be very detail oriented when it comes to them. It helped bridge that gap. It helped bridge the gap between ideas as well as content development. When you understand them, when you understand what your purpose is, and things may come up in your mind, or we may have several ideas and be like, you know what, no, that don't fit. That idea don't fit my audience, the purpose in which I'm here to serve them. Okay. So you got to establish a client buyer's journey. You got to be taking people somewhere. You got to be taking them from, they don't know you taking them somewhere, but you should know that you're taking them somewhere. All the way from the social media posts to get to your podcast, or however it may not be a social media post, and maybe you being interviewed somewhere, or maybe you speaking somewhere. You got to know where you're taking them. Okay. So you got to establish a client buyer's journey. Your podcast should be looked at as a GPS coordinates, right, to your content, to that product or that service. And so there are a few phases. You're going to have the brand awareness phase, right? And here is, in that phase, they're going to be coming to a place where they come in contact with your brand, right? With your brand messaging. And they're going to come into the knowledge that you exist, and that, listen, you are a solution consideration for the problem that they have, right? And you want to take them from the awareness, right, phase, and we want to bring them on over to the consideration phase. Okay. And that's where you listen, from the awareness. If you want to get them on your email list, right? So you can nurture, right? You can nurture them a little bit, right? So that they could know and further get to listen, taste and see that you're good. To taste and see that you got the goods, and feel more confident in your authority. As in this consideration phase where you are showing up authentically, so that they can understand that, listen, you are the go-to, you are the authority figure in this space. Okay. When people are in the consideration phase, they are comparing, right, one entity from another. See, this is where, again, your email nurturing, your success stories and things of that nature really, 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 or inviting them to come and be a part of your webinar, or be an attendee in your webinar, or what have you. There's just various ways that you can nurture them in that process. And then you want to get them to a purchase or decision phase. So the first two is going to deal with totally marketing, right? That is marketing. That's marketing, 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 marketing the brand. Okay. Capturing the information to now they're confident in who you are. They like you. They're growing to love you, and now they're going to try. They're going to try and see how good you are, right? Try and see if your products and services or a product or service that you have is going to work for them. Okay. And so you want to get them to that phase to pull the trigger, to pull out the credit card and make the purchase. But guess what? It does not end there. It doesn't end there, because then we got to get them to, you want, after the purchase, then hey, because of the way you showed up with your product with them or your service with them, hey, you're going to then retain them. So these last two is going to be our post purchase, right? Or your post sale phases. And so this is retention. It's cheaper to keep somebody, it's less marketing dollars when you retain somebody, right? Where they're a repeated customer or repeat customer or client is what I like. Customer is one and done, but your clients are with you forever. Those are your ride to life. Okay. The ride to life. You can package it however you want to package it, put it together. They're there for it. They're there for it. Okay. And so that's what you want, right? And it's because of the customer experience or the customer service experience that they would receive from you at when they purchase, what that experience was like and things of that nature. Hey, they're coming back for more. They're coming back for the membership, the coaching program. They're coming back for the next thing that you have to offer. Why? Because they enjoyed the experience. And then you want to, from retention to advocacy phase. The advocacy phase, now they're your best friend. Listen, now you got that word of mouth going for you. And they are now selling your products and services for you, because they're loyal to you, because they know that it is a brand that they can amplify, right? So listen, you have to establish a client's buyer journey. Now, for those who don't have products or services yet, hear my words, yet, because you will establish them. What there are other ways that you still can have products and services to sell. Okay, and we're going to talk about that briefly. So, in your client buyer's journey, right, you want to connect your episodes to your content that you have for purchase, right? For your content, whether it's for purchase or maybe um, to build your list. It just depends on what you're going to do with it. Also, you can connect your episode to your affiliate partners or sponsors. Okay, you're able to do that, and that can be books, membership programs, coaching, consulting programs, any events, right? um, Anything that connects, or that connects with what it is that you're doing and how it is that you're serving your people, and something that will be valuable for them, that, listen, they would want to buy, so this is a snapshot, or something to consider when you're establishing your client buyer's journey. That awareness phase, that social media post, that ad, that event, being an event speaker, being a podcast guest, or hosting your own podcast. That consideration phase, your email nurturing, listen, that webinar or an event or something else that you have, your blogs, other things that you have that keep them connected to you and what it is that you do. Then that purchase decision phase, listen, the sales page or the sales call, the consultation, like what that experience is looking like or feeling like for them. Also, the retention phase, right? That loyalty, where they are now loyal to you. They're repeated customers. Again, like I said, they're buying the next. What's the next training you have? What's the next retreat? What's the next conference? When is the next book? What is the next hair product? What it depends on whatever it is that you're selling, right? Or whatever it is that you have. And then of course the advocacy phase, where you're just chilling and they're helping, bringing in you're helping increase your bottom line because they love you. The other thing that you have to do, listen, you got to choose your lane of authority and stand in it. Okay. You got to choose your lane of authority. So, what does your lane of authority look like? Are you creating a podcast as an expert in cooking, in movies, in books, in maybe a specific area of healing or helping people matriculate to different things? Is something in health with is maybe arthritis, blood pressure, helping people with weight loss. Like, what is it? A business coach? What is it that you're doing? What is it that you're doing? What is your lane? And so you want to, once you determine your lane and stick to your lane, and you just leverage your expertise, right? Your passion, your greatness, your brilliant, your interest to deliver a podcast that is very valuable to the listeners and your viewers if you have a viewing component to it, okay? So what is that? You also have to craft your mission statement. So your mission statement is going to describe how you will provide value to your listeners. Having a clear having a clear and having a clear mission, right? That is focused toward your listeners or your viewers will help you maintain a consistent voice, make high quality editorial decisions, and help you build a profitable brand. Okay, help you build a profitable brand. Your mission statement should reflect those values, right, that you have and serve as your compass, right, when it comes down to developing content, when it comes down to developing content, right? And so you want to make sure when you are um, crafting your mission statement that you stay true to your mission statement. Now, let me say this. So, nothing is perfect, right? Everything is adjustable, right? And so you got to be flexible for that. But even when you are like doing your podcast, like whenever if you ever have to try or adjust to anything, you want to listen, give it at least 5 episodes and let's see how it works, right? A minimum of 5. See how it works, see how it flows, and hey, maybe this needs to change. Okay, but don't just throw it out, right? Doing that first try. And so you have to we're going to get ready to frame what your mission statement should look like. So let me just talk about what a few of those may be. So let's say, or what a mission statement could be, right? So it would be, hey, I want to help um, work at home moms, right? Create a successful, sustainable career, right? That is the mission of your podcast. That is the mission of it. Or you want to help parents support their children through the crucial teenage years, right? Or you may want to help veterans, right? Reintegrate and lead successful careers. It can be a various things, but you have to develop what that looks like, and that's going to help you stay on target. So hey, if I'm here to help moms, right, in the crucial years for their teenagers, every episode, all the content that I make is going to be dealing with, listen, issues that mothers have with teenagers and ways to overcome that. What are their pain points? What are parents' pain points or mom pain points when it comes to those teenagers, right? What is it? And so those are the things that I will be dealing with. So the other thing that we got to do, we're writing your mission statement. So I want you to take a snapshot of this because I want you to think about that mission statement and frame it, right? for yourself. Go ahead and write that out. What is that? What is it, right? And so that you can have a place where you stay on target. Because we want to make sure that your voice stay consistent, right? And that mission statement will help you do that. Okay. So here's one at the bottom. I want to help women of faith package your skills to create and sustainable and successful business generating multiple streams of income, right? So you want to say, I want to help. Who is your target audience? Who is it, right? Mine here was Women of Faith. This is with my Her News International podcast, okay? And then what is the goal? I want to help target audience, and then what is that goal? Okay. And my goal is to create and sustain a successful business generating multiple streams of income, right? So I want you to do that for yourself and your podcast. Listen, this is Denise. This is actually my very, very first podcaster on my station, which started in December 2017. And this is her. She's very excited about her brand being amplified in other places around the world. So we thank God for that. She was giving her testimony about her message, what God had told her to do, and how it is getting to the four corners of the earth. The next thing that you have to do is name your podcast. Naming your podcast. Listen, the name is everything, as it gives identity, right, to your podcast. It gives listeners directions as well. That's why Jesus was like, wait, who do they say I am? And who do they say I am? Like, who am I to them? Right. And so that will be that's the same way, right, that your viewers and listeners will be able to distinguish you by the name of your podcast. So if you're a podcaster, do me a favor. I want you to drop the name of your podcast, right? Drop the name of your podcast inside of the chat box. I mean, in the comments. So listen, and there are certain things that you just would not do. Like for myself, I will not name a podcast with my name, right, directly. I wouldn't have a Derashay um podcast. Why? Because first of all, my name is difficult to pronounce. It's not spelled how it's pronounced. So it just wouldn't be, it's not something that will be good or searchable. In addition, it says nothing about what it is that I'm doing, how am I showing up to help other people, right? How can I help you? And so I have a few shows that I do. Like one is Her News International. We know that that's a women's show. And that's a women's show specifically for women to help them, right, in their personal, professional, and spiritual development. And so then I have Build Your Empire with the Kingdom Strategist, right? That is definitely my business. That's my business podcast, faith-based business podcast. Okay. So then I have that one. And so they know, okay, if I'm coming over there, I'm coming over there to learn how I'm going to, you know, build what it is that the Lord has given unto me through faith-based principles. I'm going to build my business, right? They know that. Those things that's connected with that. So again, your name is everything. You want to be able to be identified. You want to make sure it's simplified. You want to make sure how your name is giving life, right? To your audience as it gives them direction and build your brand identity in that space. Okay. So then you have to build your marketing foundation. Now, many times when we're thinking about marketing, most people would think about, oh, the artwork or the profile page of your social media networks right before they even think about the mission or the ideal audience or any of those things, right? Like no one is thinking about that. um, so this makes it impossible for them to create a branding and advertisement plan or advertising plan that resonate with their ideal audience, right? It makes it difficult when you don't look at the major details that we think or consider to be so small, right? The mission and who you're serving is like so critical so that you can appropriately brand. You can appropriately brand and advertise. That's important. So we're going to talk about the things that is going to be important to help us in our branding, advertising, and our marketing efforts. Okay. Here. And so we're going to talk about the 3 C's. These are 3 C's that's going to be critical. So that, listen, so you can show up, so that you can show up all over the place. It's going to be critical for that. So let's talk about what these 3 C's, I'm sorry, 3 S's are. And so they are searchability, right? How will your ideal listener or viewer find your content? Many listeners will find your content via search, right? The easy way to start showing up in search results is to set up your podcast show profile using right the podcasting tool, right? By beginning to generate episode pages and appropriate metadata and using episode titles that reflect subjects your audience will search for over time. So that's why it's important to know who they are so you can begin to think like them. I want you to also remember you used to be them in some form, shape, or fashion, right? That's why the heart is there for what it is that you do. I want you to think about syndication, where your podcast content is distributed, right? So syndication is that's another word for distribution, okay? And so, how many places is your podcast distributed? It should not just be in one location. It should be on multiple locations. I told you we on about 60 plus. I just stopped counting, right? Um, media entities, and it has definitely allowed our brand to stretch far and wide, and did it very quickly. Okay. Also, your social engagement. Your social, how and where your ideal listener viewers get connected and engage with you. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I'm always gonna tell you, listen, you gotta be on the platforms where they are. Because if it's platforms that they don't, they're not on, then you're gonna lose them. Gotta be on the platforms where they are. So this one person I was working with, and she was over in on one social media platform, which was not for business, right? And her brand was more for high end clients who were executive professionals, right? Like that is like a no brainer on where you need to be. A no brainer. You need to be over there on LinkedIn, right? Um, because of who it is that you're serving. You're not getting your results because you're in the wrong location. Let us get you to the place where you need to be so that you can get the most engagement. Okay. So those are things that we have to think about. So as you're putting together your podcast, listen, think about, am I going to be searchable? Think about what are the things that they're going to be looking for so that you can keep that in mind when you're building and developing content. How many places can I be found? And where would I engage? What social media platform or forms that I'm going to engage with my listeners and my viewers. Okay. So let's identify podcasting multiple streams of income. Like I told y'all, so let's talk about it. So, um, podcasting multiple streams of income, right? It can be your very own content from your business. You got make books, products, services, just depending on what you do. Membership program, coaching program, um, training platform, educational training platform. It's just depending on your own. Other content that you can sell is affiliate partners and sponsors. The same thing. Their books, their products, their services, their coaching programs, their training programs, uh, their memberships. You can do that as well. You can also generate income from guest interviews and show sponsorship. Okay, so let's move right along here. Let's give you some idea. So, here, show Build Your Empire with the Kingdom Strategist. Episode 4 Main Ingredients to Getting Paid Online and Offline. This is what the buyer's journey look like. Lead magnet, okay? Getting paid. So this lead magnet is something that, listen, I'm going to offer for them at the end of the show that they're offered to go and pick up their get paid online and offline resource for free. Okay. So that was the lead magnet. I used the lead magnet here for the buyer's journey. It's not the lead magnet all the time, but for this particular episode, this is the journey that I decided to take the ideal client on. So from there, now of course they're on my email list. See, when they went and picked up that lead magnet, they got on my list. Now on my list, now I can offer them a 15-minute consultation or the one-on-one. Okay, or the one-on-one consultation. So we can determine in the 15-minute consultation, we determine what products and services that I best have to serve you, right? And inform you of those so that you can make a choice on which way you would go, or that one-on-one consultation where we are specifically focused on a specific outcome that they desire and we're strategizing about it. Okay. So so they're on my email list. So those are the things that they would be offered, right? They would be also, and they won't get all of this in one email. This will be a series of emails that will go out in between nurturing, right? Emails. And then, hey, I'll have a boot camp available for them, the multiple stream of income boot camp. It's a 4 week training. Or hey, they can get the School of Vision as well. That is something else, another product that's available for them, or they can get into or a membership program. Again, these are things that will go out, it'll get in their inbox or eventually at some point as I'm nurturing them through a series of things. And so, but even with that, remember I told you, we got to have, listen, what is that financial number that's going to be made that you're looking to make from that episode? What does that look like? What is your target? What is your target? So you'll know what are the numbers I'm looking for so that you can even track to know, okay, what was successful, right? How did I get there? And if it wasn't, what things do I need to modify and adjust as well? Okay. So those are ways that you can, or some things that you can consider and think about when it comes to developing a podcast that you are going to profit from. And again, this you can be absolutely new out the box, even when it comes to getting affiliates. Affiliates and sponsors for your shows as well. I'm telling you things that I'm not telling you nothing that I don't do, right? I'm telling you things that I do and that have worked for me. Okay, so here we are. I want to do this, and then I'm gonna let you guys have a Q&A. So I hope you get ready to get your questions ready. You can either put your questions in the Q&A, or or you can, let me see, you can raise your hand once we go into our Q&A moment. But give us a moment, we're almost there. So here, I'm trying to see. Okay, I thought I was going to say something else here. Let's talk about let's do this podcasting episode on my map. Okay, so, and this is for those who you may already have a show, but it's definitely good for those who don't have a show but considering one. So first of all, I want you to grab a piece of paper. On the top of that piece of paper, I want you to put what is the subject matter, right? What is the niche that you're going to be talking about on your podcast? Like, what is that niche? Is it, I mean, if it's tech, put tech, okay? If it's cooking, like whatever it is, what is that subject matter area? You get to determine what that is. So now that you identified what that subject matter area is, now all I want you to do, you don't even have to think long and hard about it, because this is your thing. This is what you love to do. So now what I want you to do is write down 12 things. So I want you to write down 12 things. We need at least 12, okay? Some of you may even can write down more than 12 things that you can teach concerning that area. Okay? So I'm going to give you about a minute to do that. And then I'm gonna give you some more instructions about it. So we have our area of expertise, the subject matter that we will be teaching on or talking about on our podcast, and then we're writing down the 12 12 subjects or that we can talk about as it concerns or correlate to the subject matter expertise that we put there that we're going to talk about. Okay. Okay, so our minute is done, and it shouldn't have taken you that long, right? Because this is a space that you're just absolutely brilliant at or in. Like, is you got this. So listen, for those who you finish your 12, and if you haven't, you can finish it later. So once you get your 12 there, listen, you have just created a year outline, right, for content. Now, what you do with the each one of those pieces, what you do is you take that one, and you got to look at each one of those as a episode, conversation for the month. And so you will break down that particular conversation into 4 weeks, right? Hey, looking at that episode conversation for the month, like what is 4 things that we can talk about and do and dive deep, right? With our target listeners and viewers, right? Ideal listeners and viewers. And that way, that takes all the pressure off of you when it comes to developing content, right? Especially for those who can master it and do it that way. Like you already have an outline. Now it's all about pulling the content together based on how you deliver on your message. So listen, I want to, for those who, you're like, hey, I want to, be nurtured, cultivate. I want to start, right, my podcast or come into this media space or what have you. We are, look, we are doing something. We launched what, maybe like, I think it was like 2 months ago, when we first introduced this, but we have what we called our Broadcast My Brand membership program, right? That we have available. And so it is a space where people are going to be coming together. We're coming together and we have group mentorship, right? For myself, we have implementation training sessions as it comes to the area of broadcasting, dealing with TV, radio, and podcasting. They're all the same. Listen, training, all for it is the same, right? Everything that's each one of those areas just have some things that may be a little bit different about the platform itself. Then we also deal with broadcasting income generation trainings. We'll have those conversations with you as well. We have our group hot seats that we have. Listen, to help someone from the group who are dealing with challenges and they're needing solutions. And so we'll have those group hot seats. We'll have co-working sessions. Listen, where you're able to come and don't work alone. You ain't got to work alone as you're putting together your podcast. We have that space available. We also, you have your peer support, right? Others that are a part of the membership program. We'll have products and services discount. You'll get products and services discount because you're part of the program. You have an exclusive private community, right? And so much more. I promise you, you're going to have absolutely an amazing time. This program is only $35 right now, right? Because I told you we just launched it and we're getting to a certain number. And once that we cap it, we're going to cap at so many at a certain number with the 35, and then we're going to change that price. So it's $35 a month, and those are the things that you get within it. For those who are interested in being a part of that program, you can go to ksu.fyi membership and join our membership today, okay? In Jesus' name. Now, this membership is different from the women's membership, just FYI. Anyone that's watching or on here, those are two separate membership programs, okay? And so just want you to be aware of that. And now I'm going to open up for Q&A. You can grab the mic or you can raise your hand and I can put a mic in your hand and bring you on the stage. Right? You can be on and off camera or you can put your questions inside of the chat or the Q&A section here. Okay? I hope that this information was valuable to each of those that are in attendance with us. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions coming up here. Okay, so I'm glad that hey, this answered any question that you may have had. And so with that being said, dynamic people of God, then we're going to let me back up for those that are out in the other platforms. Guess what? I will come and get your question later. We'll answer that a little bit later for you. So with that being said, we're going to just transition right over to our next session here. And so I'll meet you guys over in the next room. I will see you soon. In Jesus' name, amen.